All right, let's dive in. Today, we are unpacking a really powerful message about, well, one of life's greatest virtues, and let's be honest, one of its biggest challenges, patience. We're going to explore why we struggle with it so much and what we can learn from a universe that just operates on a much, much grander timeline than we do.
You know, it's a question we all ask ourselves, right? When the Wi-Fi's crawling or you're stuck in traffic, why is being patient so incredibly hard? Turns out, the answer might not just be about our personality, but about our connection, or maybe our disconnection to everything around us.
And boom, there it is. That's the core idea right from the get-go. You've got this huge, stark contrast between a patient, deliberate universe, and then there's us, the ones who explode when things don't go according to plan. This just immediately puts the whole problem into a much, much bigger perspective.
So, if we want to get a handle on our own impatience, we first have to wrap our heads around the incredible, almost unimaginable patience of the universe itself.
I mean, the scale here is just staggering, isn't it? The universe literally takes billions of years to create a planet, with absolutely no rush. Meanwhile, we get completely frustrated when someone is just a slow learner. It just perfectly highlights the wild disconnect between our timelines. And that's really the key takeaway here. Our impatience, it seems, comes from this lack of harmony. It's like we're constantly trying to force our own tiny, immediate timeline onto this massive, cosmic master plan that is operating on an entirely different schedule.
So let's dig into how this disconnect creates what the source material calls humanity's big impatience problem. Why do we resist this natural, patient flow so much?
Oh man, I think we can all relate to this. Has anyone ever felt better when, in the middle of being upset, someone tells you to just be patient? Yeah, me neither. For a lot of us, that advice feels less like a helpful virtue and more like, just pouring gasoline on the fire. It really shows how deep our resistance to this idea runs.
And this is what's really at stake. See, impatience isn't just some minor annoyance. It actively gets in the way of us being our best selves. Kindness, tolerance, compassion, all these amazing qualities are rooted in being present, which is the very essence of patience.
Okay, so if impatience is the problem, what's the solution? Well, the source doesn't just point out the issue. It gives us this really beautiful metaphor for how we can start to fix it.
I just love this idea. Patience isn't some fixed trait that you either have or you don't. No, it's a seed. It's something you can plant and nurture. It's a skill you can actually develop. But, and this is the important part, just like a garden, it needs consistent daily attention. It's not going to grow overnight.
And here's the practical how-to guide. First, you plant the seed. That means just accepting that this is going to take time. Then comes the daily work, which is like weeding the garden. You've got to monitor yourself, and you have to be okay with falling down sometimes. Nobody gets it right on the first try. It's just like learning to walk. And finally, meditation is suggested as a way to connect back to your naturally calm state.
Wow. Now that is a powerful statement about personal responsibility. The idea is that stress isn't some external force that just attacks us. It's our reaction to what's happening. It's something we create, which, well, that's actually good news, because it means we also have the power to stop creating it.
All of this brings us to the central metaphor of this entire message. This idea that for, centuries, humanity has basically been living as if it were completely blindfolded.
So, this blindfold, it represents our lack of awareness. It's what keeps us feeling disconnected from our true selves, from each other, and from the world. We think our little, stressed-out perspective is the only reality out there, because we literally can't see beyond the cloth that's tied over our eyes.
Now, to really drive this point home, the source offers a pretty provocative comparison. On one side, it describes indigenous peoples, what it calls uncivilized, as being totally in tune with the earth. And on the other side, it points to civilized society's habits, things like texting while driving or polluting, as clear evidence of being totally oblivious. It's a really challenging perspective for sure, and is designed to make us question what we think of as progress.
But here's the thing. The message is not one of doom and gloom. Actually, it's incredibly hopeful. The core idea is that a great awakening is already happening. People all over the world are starting to question the blindfold. A global shift in consciousness is apparently underway.
So what does this awakening actually look like in practice? What's the vision for the future if we keep going down this path of reconnection?
Well, the very first step is realizing that we're not just living on the Earth, we're a part of a living, breathing system that is constantly communicating with us. It's singing to us. The key is simply to learn how to listen again.
And the advice for how to do that is just beautifully simple. It's not some complicated ritual. It really just starts with getting outside. Yeah, it's all about reconnecting through your senses. You know, feeling the sand between your toes, hearing the steady rhythm of the ocean. And it's about starting to see the world not as some static backdrop for our lives, but as a living story that we get to be a part of. Every little thing, from the birds to the trees, has a story to tell, if we just slow down and pay attention.
So the crucial thing is to bring this awareness into our daily lives. It can start the second you wake up, just with a sense of gratitude. It continues by really trying to enjoy and be present in each moment. And it's all powered by this one fundamental shift: turning your focus away from all the external noise and distractions and looking toward your own inner world.
And this right here is the ultimate promise, that once we finally remove that blindfold, we'll realize that we are part of something so vast, so interconnected, and so truly astonishing. That feeling of being isolated and alone, that's just an illusion created by the blindfold itself.
Which leaves us with this final, really powerful question to think about. If all of our impatience and our stress and our disconnection are just symptoms of a blindfold we've all been wearing, what does reality truly look like? And who do we become the moment we finally choose to take it off?